Prepare for Nerdgasm.
Hey, what's up, Nerdgasm fans? I got another video for you tonight. You guys have seen my other videos that I have, of course, on the Man Cave channel, about my new rig I got. It's an Obutto R3volution, and I have the Thrustmaster T500 RS attached to it. And I've got the stock pedals attached with the brake mod, and I have the shifter set up in sequential mode. I don't even think you can see the shifter in frame, but that's alright, trust me, it is. Well, one of my biggest gripes with this thing, I love everything about it except for the wheel. I hate that this feels like hard plastic. Like, all of them do, to be honest. I mean, even the Logitech steering wheel, the G27, the G25, they just don't feel like a wheel that you'd take and put in your car. And when you're driving in a simulator, like, that tactile feel of the steering wheel, like, the size is wrong, it's too small, the way your hand fits around it, it's just, you know, they're definitely not very realistic. So, my solution to that is to go ahead and put a real car steering wheel on here. So I went ahead and contacted a company called DSD Technology Systems. A guy named Derek, I believe, was the one I interacted with, who builds these little gems. Now what this is it's a hub adapter to attach a 70mm standard steering wheel from a car onto the hub assembly of this seamlessly. Well, let me show you. Right here, you can see it's manufactured from some kind of polymer. It feels very, very strong and very, very rigid. And it's looks like it's pretty much just a direct replacement. So you mount this on a steering wheel. So today, I went and picked up a Sparco steering wheel from 425 Motorsports in Bellevue. They're probably watching this video. I told them that I'd send them a link. And they gave me a pretty good deal on it. And the thing I like about this is like a realistic size. If you look at it here, I mean, it's not hugely bigger, but I mean, it's at least about another inch in diameter. It's very soft. You know, it's very, very soft leather. It's squishy, easy to hold on to. Down here, it's got the little grooves to hold your thumb. This does too, but just not as good. These are really good thumb grips. And it's got the flat bottom, like a lot of racing wheels do. So you can kind of see them side by side right here to get an idea. And we're going to mount it using the hub. The hub literally just lines up with the holes on the back, and you're good to go. The screws that came with the adapter, these little self-tapper guys right here, they're silver for one, and they have the rounded heads on them. Hopefully you can see this in the video. But they have like the rounded type heads. Well, if you have a steering wheel here like the Sparco where it has the recessed holes, then you need a different type of screw. So I just went to True Value, or you can go to Home Depot or anywhere else, and I got some Allen head type screws that are black and have the little recessed head so that they fit perfectly in the wheel. I did this just because, more for cosmetics. I'm sure you can make the other screws work, but if you look when these are mounted, I mean, they're going to look really nice. I mean, they're black, they're torqued down with an Allen key. It's just nicer. It's the same type of hardware you'd use to mount it in a real car. Definitely worth the upgrade. And if you're watching, Derek, I love the adapter so far, but in the future, you might want to just throw in some of these screws with it, because there are a lot of wheels out there that just don't look or feel right with these guys. Alright, now let's get the thing mounted. Alright guys, for those of you that don't know, on the bottom of the wheel, there's just a little screw right here on the hub. You just loosen it, don't take it out all the way, just take it out so that it's not biting into the wheel anymore. Straighten the wheel out, twist the collar until it's all the way out. Keep pulling, and voila, the wheel is removed. It's installed, slid right on the hub as advertised, and everything just worked. You'll notice there's a screw missing right there. That was my bad. I had to drill the holes out a little bigger to fit my new screws, and I didn't have the wrong size bit, and I ended up stripping the screw trying to get it to go in there. I'll get a new one tomorrow, but honestly, I'm not steering a dump truck with it, so I really don't need it. So here's the old wheel against the new wheel, so you can kind of get an idea of the size and perspective. Things to note is my wheel came with a horn switch. Not that it'd be much good on the simulator, but as you can see, it doesn't fit. It's too deep, and the adapter's flush on the back of the wheel. So again, Derek, hey, if you do a V3 of this thing, if you can bevel out the inside there, so you know, a Sparco type wheel horn accessory would fit, that'd be kind of cool. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and put a 425 Motorsports logo right there that they gave me. Well, here, let me climb in here and let's see how it feels. All right, let's run it through its startup routine. Awesome, dead center. All right, let's climb in and try it out. See how it fits. Whew, got sweaty doing all that work. All right, jump in. This cockpit is so easy to get in and out of. You got the sliders. Oh man. That is perfect. Okay, first impressions. This is the first time I've actually touched it since it's been on here. And also, I just put some leather conditioner on it and cleaned it up. But the first thing I noticed, you don't feel the motor. The motor had a little bit of a notchiness to it. Like you could definitely feel there was a motor driving the wheel. And having all this padding on the wheel and a larger diameter, it deadens that quite a bit. Like it feels a lot more like hydraulic force than it did with the old wheel. I have the old wheel right here. Again, the size difference is, you know, about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in diameter. Of course, you don't have the buttons anymore. But to be honest, I don't mess with cruise control when I'm racing around Nürburgring, you know, and I don't really need to like tune the radio. So I don't need those. That's just extra added. Plus, over here on the side, I have the keyboard tray that I can put pretty much anywhere I want, and I got all the buttons I need. So, being able to have my thumbs held in there really nice to do a real quick return to center, that's awesome. Doesn't interfere with my legs. The position of the wheel is perfect. It's right where it should be. The other thing to note is the wheel's a little bit bigger, but the shift paddles are still completely accessible. And I actually like it a little better because with the old wheel it's too close, and when you were turning the wheel, sometimes you'd nick yourself on these. Now it's a little bit, feels like it's a little bit further away, and they're not as intrusive, which I like because I use the sequential bump shifter anyways. But if you still need to reach, you can still reach them with relative ease. Now, if you wanted to, I'm sure that they make an extension for these. It's really easy to open up this ring. You could probably even build your own extension. But in a nutshell, this is absolutely fantastic. So total cost. For the adapter, it was $40, so it was actually $39.75. And I think shipping and handling was included. And again, that was from DSD Technology Systems. You can look them up. I found them on Google. And the adapter, the wheel is very, very solid. I feel like the wheel, even missing the one screw there, is actually more planted than the original wheel. So I think just not having all that plastic and extra stuff, having one solid piece of metal here is nice. And that adapter doesn't feel flimsy at all. It feels rock solid. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up with some final thoughts. All right, so the install's complete. So let's go over some of the pros and cons. So one of the pros, and the obvious one, is you can have a real steering wheel. It's much more comfortable, it's much more precise. It just really completes the experience. It pisses me off that a lot of the wheels that come with these things, like the G25, G27, the T500, and especially the Fanatec, is they put cheap wheels on these things. I don't know why I don't know why they don't just put a car wheel on there to begin with. But at any rate, I'll digress there. So that's the big pro, is, upgrade your wheel, make it like a real car. The next thing is, it's larger and it's heavier, the wheel, and it helps clean up some of the noise from the motors. I noticed that the second I grabbed the wheel and I started turning it against the motor, I felt like I didn't feel that notchiness of the motor as much. It was greatly dampened. And that could be just because of the massive amount of foam on this particular wheel. But it certainly made it feel a lot more realistic, and the grip was a lot better. It's very simple to install. Well, for you guys. For me, it was a pain in the ass, and I'll tell you why. Because I went and got special hardware, because I wanted to do the black screws that fit right. And I got the wrong size screws, so I had to drill and tap the holes, and then I stripped one of the screws. But in a nutshell, that's all my fault. That has nothing to do with the adapter, and it still works great. And the obvious, it's a complete and total nerdgasm. Now, the cons, there are a couple of them. The first is that the adapter does come with those self-tapping screws, but they're the panhead type. They don't fit the little, pre-drilled tapped holes. So you guys can give me the correct name for it. Of the Sparco wheel and some of the Momo wheels. So I had to pretty much just throw those away and get my own hardware. So I'm thinking maybe if those came with the adapter, that'd be cool, like a couple different sets of screws. It is an expensive upgrade. The adapter itself is fairly cheap. I mean, I'm not going to say cheap. It's literally a piece of polymer and it's about 40 bucks. So it is a little overpriced, but seeing as it's the only one really in existence and it works as well as it does, and it's like a direct replacement for the worm drive on the old wheel, I'm going to go ahead and give it to them and say that that's a good price. Now the wheel itself can cost quite a bit. This wheel in particular I picked up was $200. So when you add in the cost of that and the adapter, you're about 240 bucks. That's nearly the cost of like a Logitech setup. So if you don't got the money to spend, I mean, it's not really a good upgrade. I would recommend putting the money towards, you know, a really good setup and then add a wheel to it later versus getting something cheaper and then spending money to get the wheel upgrade. That's just my opinion. And the worst con of them all is it makes everything else feel cheap. As soon as you have a real wheel on there and you put your hands on it, you're like, man, this feels like a real car. You immediately notice, you're like, oh, well, you know, the shifter's good, but it's not great. I want to upgrade that. Oh, you know, and except for the Obutto. I'll say the Obutto R3volution still feels, it and the seat feels exactly like a real car. But it does cheapen some of the other hardware. So it's definitely one of those things where if you upgrade this, it's going to make you want to upgrade everything, so you're going to have to open up your wallet. Well, guys, this has been another Nerdgasm presentation. I hope you guys enjoy my video. Tomorrow, we'll be doing another video on an unboxing and install of the Fanatec rather, Club Sport V2 pedals. Because, like I said, I knew putting this on it, it was going to cheapen everything else. So now we're going to get rid of those Thrustmaster pedals and we're going to go with load cell-based pedals with the mechanical clutch. So, until next time, guys, please subscribe to my channel. Check me out on Blip TV. Also, go ahead and like my Facebook page and sign up for Twitter, and that way you'll get notifications whenever I post video or whenever I'm up to something crazy up here. So, now it's time for me to sit down, relax, and have some fun with this stuff. So, until tomorrow, take it easy, guys.